Welcome to the Ask an Aggie podcast, where we are exploring the ins and outs of college life here in College Station. We want you to have the best college experience you can, so listen in as we dive into relevant topics that will help you navigate this new and exciting stage of life. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Ask an Aggie podcast. Good to see you all again, even though, of course, we can't see you, but you can see us. You know, we're still working on the intro. I feel like, we've come in like 20 episodes deep, and I still just haven't.
It's not comfortable ever.
It's never
to do
comfortable.
an intro. So,
But anyway, Asher here with Jordan.
Yep, excited as usual. I think I say that every time. So
Every time.
I'm super excited. So that's just who I am. And we have Daniel Barrera in the studio today.
Yeah,
I actually just met Daniel 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. So we got my buddy Daniel here, and we're just gonna be talking about FLOs. So Daniel's kind of the expert over here.
Wait, you got to define what a flow is. You just threw out jargon that nobody knows what that means.
That's fair. Well, since Daniel is the expert, I guess
we'll let
Daniel, and then we'll kind of establish his credibility, show him what he's all about.
Yeah. So, hey, I'm Daniel. Yeah. So I was a part of a freshman leadership organization.
All right.
Back when I was in college. Freshman leadership organizations are for all different types of things that we have at A&M. We have 20 now. Back when I graduated, there were 18, so getting bigger every day. But yeah, there are 20 of them now, all different types of stuff that you could do, just learning different leadership qualities in all different types of things, from engineering, science, technology, to business, to just basic service flows, trying to go out and serve the community.
Sure.
And then there's stuff like FLIC, which is the one that I was a part of, which is Christian-based. There's all different types of flows out there. If you want to learn leadership skills and that are specific to some form or fashion of like whatever your major is, or just some sort of aspect of life, it's out there for you.
Yeah. So Daniel, you said you were part of FLIC. That's Freshman Leaders in Christ, right?
Yes, Freshman Leaders in Christ.
And so you were a student freshman year, like you were able to go through and be a member, and then you were staff.
Yes.
And then director, right?
Yes, I was the director of FLIC for FLIC 22, class of 2022 when they came in. Over there leading that with, a few of my friends, was the leader of the Service and Outreach Committee.
Okay.
My sophomore year, and then, in it as a freshman.
Awesome. And so let's just ask, first question right off the bat. Why did you want to join a FLIC in the first place? Or why should a freshman want to join a FLO? Sorry.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, no, when I was looking around for what I wanted to do when I came to A&M, I heard a lot of my friends from back home talk about FLOs.
Okay.
I had a few different friends that went to church with me that were in different types of FLOs that went to A&M, and they said all different types of stuff. And I was really intrigued by what they all had to offer and how broad they were. I'm like, I'll give this a look when I go in. And sure enough, very first thing that I see when I'm on campus are people banner holding when they're out there in front of the MSC, there in the middle, out there in the middle of the plazas and stuff like that, just berating you like, here's a flyer.
You want
a
flyer?
Come check out our informational.
We have free candy.
We're those people sometimes, so let's talk nicely about them.
We're totally those people.
Oh, no, trust me, I've done plenty of that in my time over the past couple of years. So, yeah. But, literally, they're just out there giving all this stuff to you. First thing that you first week of class.
Yeah.
When you're out there, which is really, really cool. Really cool to see. Like, they want you to be involved, and looked around, looked at a few different ones, ended up applying to 4 of them, went and did interviews, and then ended up getting into FLIC. So was really excited for that, man.
So let's jump off on that. So this is all new for me. I've known about FLOs, these freshman leadership groups. They meet weekly. It's kind of a way to get connected, but. So you did your research. Where would you find that information?
So all of that information nowadays, it's in one location now. It wasn't in one location when I was a freshman, which wasn't great. But now it's all on FLAC, FLAC.
Okay, so everything's FL something, it feels like. But
FL,
it's like freshman leaders in something.
It's a bunch of forced acronyms.
Yes. So, and nothing's spelled the correct way, I've noticed.
No. Never.
So go to flac.tamu.edu, and you can get the whole list of everything.
Yes.
All right. So then you said you interviewed. This isn't something I just joined because they're asking for leaders, not just members.
Right.
So what does that interview process even look like?
Yeah. So with FLOs, all different FLOs, they only take a certain amount of people. Like when I was in Flick took 60. Took 60
wow.
freshmen. So they all go through an application process. There's an application that they set out after they do their all FLO informational, where all of the FLOs get together and you get to hear from all 20 of them
Sure.
about what they do, what they're about, what it looks like to be in their organization,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that other fun stuff. And then immediately after that, they release the app. You go and you look at the applications, fill out the applications, and then after a certain time, all the FLOs will read every single application. Then they will talk about, okay, who do we want to give interviews to?
Sure.
And then they'll email you back, usually later, after the weekend.
Okay.
They say you
So they're
usually turn them in
pretty
on a Friday.
quick getting
Yeah.
back to you.
Yeah. You usually turn them in on a Friday. They usually get back to you Sunday or Monday. And then they'll let you know if you get an interview or not. Some FLOs take everybody for an interview. Some don't because they have so many applicants.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then after that, you go through an interview process. Usually it's just a pretty casual conversation.
Okay.
Just trying to figure out who you are.
Yeah. And
They
if you're
wanna-
a fit with
Yeah.
us and all of that
Exactly.
sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
They just want to see what are your goals while you're here at A&M and see if that matches up with what they stand for as an organization and see if you'd be a good fit. After that, everybody who goes in and applies for a FLO and interviews, they go in and pref their FLOs, almost kind
Okay.
of like sorority
Sure.
recruitment.
Sounds a
Yeah,
lot like
okay.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you pref them one to however many you interviewed
Sure.
for, and then the FLOs do the same thing. And then they have a giant magical system that mixes everybody up together. and
Algorithms.
Yeah, exactly.
The
And then
applied
they put you in that.
mathematician understands this.
I got you.
And
Understand.
the business major's making fun of him right now, but that's all right.
I'm sitting in the room with two math majors.
Yes. So that's really interesting. That's not what I was expecting. So you interview, and you said you interviewed with 4 different ones.
I ended up only interviewing with 2.
You were interested in 4. You interviewed with 2, and then you decided on Flick. That's correct, not FLO. Flick is a FLO that you can find on FLAC.
Anybody that comes to A&M will realize that we love our acronyms
Yes.
for everything,
And
they
they're-
get confusing
they're-
so fast.
Most of them are not good.
Yes. So we have that. Some other big ones would have been probably. I'm assuming the engineering one is pretty large,
Yes.
and maybe even business school one's probably
yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
large
yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
Oh, yeah.
So they're taking in all these people that are just so excited to help with their resume and to get connected with a professor so that they can
Right.
have this references. But what am I going to do? So I join, and I know everyone can be different. I know that it can be, it's going to change among which one you're a part of.
Right.
But what are you preparing me for? You're saying you're setting me up to be a leader. How does that work?
Yeah. Well, Jordan, like you said, I mean, it depends based off the FLO. There's some that are a little bit more social based, where they're
Sure.
going out and they're networking with people, like stuff like prep, the business.
Yeah.
I said the business
Yeah.
one. There are a few other ones that are like that. Then there are ones that are a little bit more service based that kind of learn to lead by serving. Flick being a Christian based one, it's a huge thing that we were a
Sure.
part of. Everything that we talked about is leading in the church and learning what it looks like to be a servant leader.
Yeah.
Then there's other ones like Assist. Assist is a great one that they talk about leading through serving. MSC Fish does something similar as well, while also getting a little bit more of the social aspect.
Okay.
So it's tuned differently to each
Sure.
individual one, and it's really cool to see how all of these different FLOs go about making leaders in literally 20 different ways.
Yeah. So you're going to be able to go to these meetings and get the
Yeah.
social aspect, because
Yeah.
I know a lot of people, you get a lot of friends from this. That is
Absolutely.
one aspect of
Yeah.
it is, coming in with a bunch of freshmen who are also looking for friends. But at the same time, I know that, you're all going out and doing, service projects. You said like you did outreach and stuff for Flick as a staff member. And so it's really interesting to see, the differences, but each of them still being successful in preparing you for
preparing
leadership
leaders
and
yeah.
preparing you for, the rest of college,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
And so one question that we had is since you were the director of a FLO, which is kind of a unique perspective, what did you want the freshmen to get out of it?
The one big thing that me and the director team, my junior year when we were leading, looked for was, like I said earlier, making sure that everybody that came through Flick as a Christian realized that leadership in the church is servant-based. We want people to have a heart for the church, a heart for loving others and putting them in front of themselves. We talked about, especially among our staff members, I set the staff vision verse that we had in Philippians 2, talking about how Jesus humbled himself
Yeah.
to the point of servant, humbled himself to being obedient to die on the cross for us.
Sure.
And how we should imitate that.
Yeah.
So that way we can show our freshmen that's what I said. That's what we're supposed to be about as leaders. That's how you effectively lead in the church, is by going, serving, and putting everybody above yourself. Whether it's your fellow people inside the church, getting people inside the church.
Yeah.
They say that's what you do. That's how it looks.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
good.
no, that's really neat. And I love, because Paul kind of sets that up, is have this mindset among you,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what you guys were doing. One distinction I'd like you to clear up for us here is, what's the difference between a FLO and a student organization?
So a FLO is a student organization that's just meant to die out after a year. We're
Really?
yeah,
Okay,
It's like
that's
we're only
interesting.
there for, I say, most of the people that end up in FLOs, about 75% of the people that end up in FLOs are one and done,
Okay.
and that's
wow.
it. They're
Yeah.
only, as like I said, have information with Flick. Like Flick takes 60 people, and then the next year they take 18 of those 60 people to be on staff.
Okay.
And then from those 18 people that were on staff, they usually take 2 or 3 to be the next directors.
Oh, wow.
So there's even if
It's
you
not
wanted
what
to
you're gonna
stay in
be
for
in
3 years,
for
right,
your whole
exactly.
time necessarily. This
That's
isn't. Yeah.
If you wanted to be in for 3 years, like, you've got to continue to apply
Yeah,
and
you-
go
you
through that
have to
interview
still-
process again
Yeah.
all
Okay.
the time
Interesting.
to continue
Yeah.
to keep going. So they're all built to die out after a year. Now, even though it dies out after a year, you're not gonna obviously not see those people.
Yeah, you don't cut
I mean,
ties.
literally yesterday, I was just at a wedding for friends of mine that were in Flick when I was a freshman.
Yeah.
I was a
Wow,
freshman.
that's cool.
So
Yeah.
and got to see so many people there. It was a lot of fun getting to see those people and continue to be back,
Sure.
be back with them
Yeah.
and meet with them again. So that community doesn't dissipate. It's just meant to fall away after a year. That way, it's like, okay, we've given you these leadership skills, so now go out and use that
Oh, wow.
in other
I like that.
organizations and
Yeah.
everywhere else around A&M.
So on
and
that
make A&M
hand-
a better place.
On that hand, if you join a FLO, should you join another organization as well at the same time?
110%. I'm firm believer that if you do end up in a FLO, granted, I was in a FLO for freshman leadership organization for 3 years.
Sure. Yeah.
But so I was one of the few that ended up continuing to stay in it all the time. But FLOs definitely should not be the only thing that you do.
Yeah.
If you're a Christian, go get involved in your church. No matter what, go find something else to
Sure.
do while you're
Business
on campus.
major.
Yeah.
Still, there's organizations
other-
you to be in.
That you can be
Exactly.
in all the way through, because
Absolutely.
in essence, you don't want to be in something. The only thing you're involved in
Yeah.
ceases to exist at the end of your freshman
Yeah.
year. You want more community, and you want to be able to apply what you've learned in the
Right.
FLO, and make yourself a better member of the other organizations,
Absolutely.
the other institutions that you're a part of.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, that's
Those-
really good.
Yeah, FLOs definitely set you up to be in a better place with other organizations and stuff like that, and just in your daily lives down the road.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love how this focus on leadership exists, because at A&M you have core that's developing leaders. You have student council that's developing leaders, but also even students that aren't in those specific realms are developing to be leaders.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
one of the RELIS things?
Oh,
Is leadership
yeah.
the L?
Yeah,
Or one of
leadership
the
is
Ls?
one of the L's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, that's really neat to me to see that kind of play
Yeah.
itself out.
Yeah.
So, well, Daniel, we ask everybody that comes in to give us a pro tip, a cheat code, so to speak, for how to survive or how to dominate your freshman year. That's what we want to do, dominate.
Domination.
Dominate freshmen.
Yes. So, what would your word of advice be to our listeners?
The big one that I tell everybody is to step out of your comfort zone. Staying in your comfort zone while in college is super boring. I did that for a little bit at the beginning. I said at the beginning of my time in college, and then finally stepped out of my comfort zone into doing all different types of things with different types of people, taking on different leadership roles, and I say in Flick and other places around. And it made me grow as a person a lot more than anything that I had done. And I said that anything that I had done just sitting in my nice little confined bubble.
Yeah.
My freshman year of college. So definitely step out of your comfort zone, find other people to like help challenge you, help you grow.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna come out after you graduate. Since I graduated back in December, those moments where I stepped out of my comfort zone and learned and growed around other people in different situations.
Yeah.
Have helped me so much more than I think even like my academics or anything.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
What would you? I'm going to follow up on that because I think it's a great word, but I think sometimes it's so good that we just like hear it, we nod, and we're like, "Oh, that's a good one. Thanks, Daniel," and then we don't like apply it very well.
Yeah.
So, what would you see maybe for you or for others a typical comfort zone that it's going to be a hard one to step out of?
Yeah.
But maybe you would really challenge specifically a student to go, "All right, here's going to be a comfort zone, whether you realize it or not."
Yeah. A lot of time that a lot of what I see, what I saw, I guess I
Sure.
should say,
Yeah.
since I've graduated,
Yeah.
I've been gone for 7 months now. But a lot of what I saw in college was people just kind of staying in their confined bubbles and talking to only people who talked like them, thought like them, did everything the same thing that they did, constantly all the time.
Sure.
The people that you naturally click with.
Yes,
That you're
exactly.
seeking out the first few weeks of classes, right?
And those are great people to have.
Yeah.
They're obviously going to be your best community
Sure.
no matter what. And I hope that you have a ton of people that are like that too.
Yeah.
But you don't grow if you don't go and meet and talk to other people that think differently than you. And A&M is a great place. I mean, there are 68,000 people here.
Yeah.
And if all 68,000 of us were completely
Clones of
identical
us.
and-
It would be.
then life would be, and so you're not growing and life would be a lot more
Yeah.
mundane. So step out and go find, step out and go find other people that have different perspective on life than you do,
Sure.
and learn from them to figure out what you believe yourself,
Yeah.
and figure out how to apply that to your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
This has been really helpful. I've learned a lot about flows.
Absolutely.
This is some of the fun of this podcast is like I'm learning about stuff like 2 years too late.
Yeah. Maybe you should go apply just to
Maybe
see
I
what
should go-
happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll apply for
Please.
Flick.
Yes.
But
For
anyway,
leadership, for like a director position. Yes. Just
that'd
see
be
what
pretty
happens.
sick.
Technically, you could do that.
They can't turn you away.
I mean, I rewrote the Constitution a little bit. It's technically in there, so
That's
you
funny.
could do
That's
it.
funny. Well, thanks, Daniel, for coming in, guys. We thank you for listening in. And remember, if you guys have a question, just hit us up at askanaggie.com, and we'll catch you next time.